In the sleepy village of Kersey, 3 young cadets find themselves inexplicably trapped in a nightmare that defies explanation. And as they navigate the eerie, deserted streets, they uncover chilling clues that hint at a dark and mysterious past. And with each step, the tension mounts, leading to a shocking revelation that will leave you questioning the very nature of time itself. And at the very end, a seemingly impossible find might crack the case wide open. In autumn of 1957, 3 young British Navy cadets found themselves on a seemingly routine map reading exercise in the picturesque countryside of Suffolk, England. We have William Lang, Michael Crowley, and Ray Barker. All of them just 15 years old, and they were eager to prove their navigation skills in the Barbara district. But little did they know that their training mission would turn into this unforgettable journey that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. So, as the boys started to approach the village of Kersey, a strange feeling began to creep over them, and the air started to grow heavy, and then this inexplicable unease settled in their minds. I mean, this village at the time was known for its charming old world atmosphere and its friendly inhabitants, but it seemed oddly deserted. The cadets, as they entered and they see this, they kind of exchange glances, and their instincts are kind of telling them, something is very off. But they kept true, and upon entering Kersey, the boys were struck by the village's unusual appearance. I mean, the houses seemed old and decrepit, as if they had been transported from a different time era. I mean, the timber frame structures actually looked hand-built, with rough-hewn lumber and small, grimy windows. Not to mention that the streets were devoid of any modern conveniences. No cars, no bicycles, not even a telephone pole in sight. And at this point, they started to venture deeper into the village, and the cadets just still couldn't shake this feeling that they were being watched now. They felt like hidden eyes were upon them, emanating this mixture of fear and hostility. And the air grew thick with a cloying humidity, and an eerie stillness then enveloped the village. I mean, this is crazy, but even the ducks in a nearby stream were just frozen in fear, as if themselves sensing this unnatural disturbance in the fabric of reality. So, curiosity now getting the better of them, the boys approached one of these dilapidated buildings, and they kind of peered through the filthy windows, and they were met with this horrifying sight. Inside of it is what appeared to be a butcher shop, and they saw the carcasses of oxen hanging right from the rafters, green with mold and partially carved. I mean, the scene was just utterly revolting, and the cadets couldn't comprehend how such unsanitary conditions exist in these modern times. So at this point, they move on to another house and encountered a similar scene of decay and abandonment. I mean, these whitewashed walls were crumbling and the rooms were cramped and sparsely furnished. It was truly as if the occupants of this town had literally vanished into thin air, leaving behind just this ghostly veil of their former lives. Clearly, the cadets did not want to be there, but it was their job to go explore the village further, and the cadets noticed other peculiar details. I mean, the trees and the grass seemed unusually lush and verdant, despite it being October. And the air was also thick with this scent of herbs and wood smoke, a stark contrast to the modern world that they knew. I mean, even the birds and the insects seemed to have just fallen silent, as if nature itself was kind of holding its breath. And the oppressive atmosphere started weighing heavily on the boys, and a deep sense of melancholy and dread just settled over them. I mean, they couldn't explain this overwhelming feeling of sadness that pervaded the village, nor could they shake the sensation of being watched by unfriendly eyes. It was as if they had literally stumbled into a place that was frozen in time, trapped in a dark and tragic past. So at this point, they know that they have a job to do, but they are unable to bear the eerie atmosphere any longer. So the cadets decided to turn around and flee Kersey. And in fact, they walked, and then it got so bad, they started running, and they hurried out of the village. Their hearts were at this point pounding in their chest. And that's when they kind of went to the top and climbed this small hill, putting a little bit of distance between themselves and this haunted hamlet. And they dared, at that moment, to kind of look back. They kind of looked at each other, and that's when they glanced backwards. And what they saw defied all explanation. That village of nothing that they had just escaped appeared to be a bustling, thriving community. Smoke rose from the chimneys, a church bell from the church that they could see peeled in the distance, and people could be seen going about their daily lives on the road. What's going on here? The contrast was so stark that they almost fainted, and the boys started to question their own sanity. Had they imagined the entire terrifying experience? I mean, some people could say it was a group hallucination, but I think any experience that involves more than one hallucination or one person seeing a hallucination of the same thing is not a hallucination. I think that is indeed reality at that time. And in the years that followed, William Lang and Michael Crowley found themselves haunted by the memories of that strange, haunted day in Kersey. And they grappled with the inexplicable nature of their shared experience, and they were just desperate for answers. And it wasn't until decades later, when both men were living now in Australia, that they decided to delve a little bit deeper into this true mystery. They reached out at this point to the Society of Physical Research in London. William and Michael shared their incredible tale with researcher Andrew Mackenzie. And as they recounted every single little detail, new revelations started to come to light. I mean, they go back and they remember this shift in environment, this sudden shift as they entered Kersey, and the way that the air had become still, heavy, and humid, and the unshakable feeling of being watched by these unseen eyes. Andrew Mackenzie wrote a book about this, but his investigation into the history of Kersey uncovered a chilling truth. The village had indeed existed at least at 900 AD, probably before, and the butcher shop that the boys encountered was confirmed to have been in operation early before the 1950s when the boys went there. But it was the discovery of the bubonic plague, also known as the Black Death's impact on Kersey, that sent shivers down all their spines. You see, at that time, the plague had ravaged that village in 1348, claiming countless lives and bringing construction of the now iconic St. Mary's Church to a halt. So if the boys somehow had slipped back into time in the period between 1350 AD and 1400 AD, the unfinished church would have been obscured by these trees and brush, explaining why they didn't see it during their terrifying ordeal. And as the pieces of this puzzle just started to fall in place, William and Michael were left with a startling realization. They had not simply just imagined the events of that day in 1957. No, they had experienced a genuine slip in time. The abandoned butcher's shop, the eerie stillness, the pervasive sense of dread were all remnants of a village in the grip of the Black Death. Now, the implications of their discovery were both thrilling and terrifying. If such temporal displacements were possible, what other mysteries may lay hidden in these folds of time? I mean, the Kersey incident serves as a chilling reminder that the boundaries between past and present were far more fluid than anyone has ever known. But that is not it. For William Lang and Michael Crowley, the memory of that fateful day in 1957 would forever be etched into their minds. I mean, they had truly stepped into a portal to a different era, witnessing firsthand the echoes of a long-gone tragedy. And while skeptics might seek to explain this away and explain away their account, the two men knew the truth and they knew what they have seen and felt. And because of that, the Kersey time slip remains one of the most intriguing and well-documented cases of its kind. But of course, the story does not end there. It would be nothing without a reveal, which I am trying to do now in all of my stories. But this twist is about to shock you. But mind you, there is a caveat. That the next part of the story was found deep on the internet. It was not related to the mainstream Kersey incident that I've read the books on. So it may be real, or it may be not. That's for you to decide. But supposedly, years later after the initial visit of Kersey, William and Michael made a shocking discovery. Hidden away in an old journal belonging to a long-deceased village elder, they found a passage that literally sent chills down their spine. The journal spoke of a strange occurrence in one of his time's autumns, when he saw three young men in this weird, unfamiliar clothing, and he saw them just kind of wandering the streets of Kersey during the height of the Black Death. And he just wondered, what are they doing out in the streets? Do they know what's going on? And the elder described that the boys were looking lost and frightened, and their faces were pale with terror. And the villagers at this point, already gripped with fear and suspicion, had hidden from the strangers, believing them to be harbingers of even greater misfortune. And the journal truly gets crazy when it ends with this haunting line. It says, "And as quickly as they appeared, the three young men vanished, never to be seen again." William and Michael's hearts raced as they read that passage. They had not only slipped back in time, but their presence had actually been recorded by somebody in the past. How powerful is that? And this revelation brought a new level of authenticity to their experience, confirming that they had indeed not been making this up and that they actually witnessed a bygone era. Like I said, the Kersey time slip stands as a reminder that the fabric of time is not as rigid as we believe. It invites us to question the nature of reality and to ponder the possibilities of other worlds and times existing just beyond our grasp. And for William and Michael, the experience would forever shape their lives as well. They had been granted a glimpse into the mysteries of the universe, a chance to literally touch the untouchable. In the end, let me know if you yourself would go back to 1957. Would you step into this portal now knowing that it would bring you back 700 years to when the bubonic plague took over Earth, even if you decided to go back just for a few minutes? Would you go? Let me know in the comments. Alright guys, that's all I got for you today. I hope you really enjoyed this. If you could definitely comment, subscribe, and share this, and hit that like button, I would truly appreciate it. Thank y'all. I'll see you next time. Cheers.